John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hey there, this is John Ulzheimer. Stuck in Atlanta traffic. I'm Midtown Atlanta, for those of you who aren't familiar with the city, which is probably all of you. Today we're going to talk about data breaches and what do you do if your information has been the subject of a data breach. So what is a data breach? So a data breach it's actually a pretty common occurrence these days where companies will hold consumers' information in their database, like name, address, social, date of birth, email addresses, credit card numbers, account-specific information if you have an account with them. So, and unfortunately, it's not an uncommon event where some malicious third party will break into the databases of some organization. That's called a breach, and they will exfiltrate, which is kind of a cool word that's made it into my vocabulary. Exfiltrate information out of a database, and essentially they're stealing it. And so that is what is commonly known as a data breach. If you Google data breach, I mean, it's the number of companies, reputable companies, that have been the subject of a data breach is pretty long and pretty impressive. So there's a couple things to keep in mind. So there is no such thing as a fully secure database. Any company that represents to you that our database is data breach proof, it is hack proof, it is impossible for any data breach to occur on our database. You know, that's a pretty bold statement. I'm not sure I would be so brazen to make such a statement, especially with the data breach, the criminals that are out there, that some of them do it just as a badge of honor, meaning that they're not really interested in stealing information from anybody. They're just interested in being able to say that they did it. So I'm not sure I would be making such bold statements if I were a company, and it may not actually be a true statement, because trust me, that the companies that have been breached all have very, very sophisticated and very, very expensive defenses against data breaches. And so it's probably an impossibility. And I'm not a tech expert, but I can tell you from my seat, the number of companies that have been the subject of a data breach, including government organizations, academic organizations, publicly traded companies, sports organizations. It looks like there are no databases that are breach proof. So what if your information is hacked, meaning that your information is stolen or exfiltrated in a data breach? First off, it probably already has been, and probably already has been many, many times. Equifax, Capital One, Target, Home Depot, you know, the list goes on and on and on of the number of companies, big companies, where you probably have relationships with them already. Healthcare companies, fitness related companies, sports companies, gaming companies, schools, they've all been hacked. So it's very likely that your information has already been exfiltrated, and already has been exfiltrated many, many times. So what do you do about it? You don't panic. You don't freak out about it. That's what you do. Because number one, it's probably already happened, and it will probably happen again. And number two is, thankfully, the law is on your side as it pertains to liability for information that has been exfiltrated. So I'll give you a great example. Let's say that your credit card information has been essentially stolen because a company has been the victim of a criminal activity called a data breach. That's also another thing that people don't really realize, is these companies that have been breached, they get criticized a lot. The problem is that they're a victim of a crime. So you're kind of victim blaming to some extent by being angry at companies that have been breached. They didn't ask to be breached, and they certainly didn't have substandard security. These hackers are just freaking sophisticated. And so So that's something to keep in mind, is that they've been the victim of a crime also. So you don't freak out, because if they have stolen your credit card information, you have no liability. Who cares? All you're going to do is you're going to call the card issuer. They're going to close your account. They're going to FedEx you a new card, and you're going to be rocking and rolling in a day or two. It's going to be a little bit of inconvenience, but it's not going to cost you any money. So don't freak out if your payment information has been stolen. That's number one. Number two, if your PII, your personally identifiable information, that's going to be things like your name and your social and your address, things that really are associated with you. If that information has been exfiltrated, then you're probably going to want to take some measures to help defend yourself. Obviously, credit fraud is ground zero, or one of the ground zeros, or grounds zero, for fraudsters. So what do you want to do? You want to put security freezes on your credit reports. That's a good thing to do. That's also free. It doesn't cost you any money. Maybe put fraud alerts on your credit reports. That's also free. Doesn't cost you any money. And you're going to want to check your credit reports from time to time. That's free. Doesn't cost you any money. And then you may even want to sign up from some of the credit monitoring services that are made available to you by the companies that have been breached. Also free. So all these things that I'm suggesting to you for you to do or consider doing, they're all free. They're not going to cost you any money out of pocket. There's no reason for you to buy stuff because you've been the victim of a data breach, I guess is the point that I'm trying to make. You don't have to pay for certain subscriptions to services and $30 a month. You don't need to do any of that stuff. It's unnecessary. So anyways, that's all there is to know about data breaches. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk again soon.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.